All right, everyone, welcome back. We had a little bit of a longer break between maps, but as you can see, we're ready now for Ancient. It's going to be the decider. We had two relatively close games in terms of the score, with obviously Nuke there being a pretty similar score to what we got on the previous map as well, but obviously trading out, taking each other's map choices and ending now on the one that we wanted to see all along, honestly.
Yeah, Ancient. And I'll be interested to see how this one plays out, mostly because both these teams are actually really good on the map. They've had good records in the past. Ago have taken wins over teams like Double Pony, Sprout, and teams in that sort of level. Sinners have had wins against Endpoint, one win, even a win against Furia a month or two ago. So yeah, they are well set on this map for sure, and they've won the knife round, so they will get to start on the CT side, as you would expect. It is a stronger side. We've seen some great T sides in the major recently, and the teams have been playing Ancient. To be fair, and it's actually been one of the most even maps in the major, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. What can Oscar do toward Donut? Already, he's destroyed by Limon on the clock, and that's going to be two headshots towards Zedko as well. Disgusting from MHL and Krasnol, giving him no chance whatsoever. That's usually what my CT pistol rounds look like. Two shots to the head and go next. Unfortunately, Sinners will probably have to save here and keep their Kevlar into round two.
Yeah, and looking like we're going to have AGO just coming swinging strong out of the gate, and this is what they wanted to try and carry over the form that they had got there on the previous map into the early stages of the T side here of Ancient, ideally, and start building themselves up a strong show and get a good foundation to work off of. One exit frag at least for Neofrag, but they're just happy enough to save over the Kevlar, and then also, of course, the smoke and the fuse kit. That'll come in pretty handy in what is very likely to be the Force Spy here in this next round, especially considering the success that we've seen already in this series coming into the second round Force Spies. I think we've seen it in both maps so far working out.
Yep. There have been Force Spy battles in both maps. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's been close starts to both of them. It'll be interesting to see if one of these two teams can actually break away now. Of course, the interesting thing for Sinners here is it's a bit different to their previous CT second rounds, because they, with saving a few of those USPs, they actually have the ability to buy a FAMAS on Neofrag. Of course, in that one kill. Of course, no helmet, but still. He's looking around toward B now. Actually going to be popping in toward B, Arago. It's a good swing from Neofrag, gets so much damage, and BC's gotten two headshots on the Deagle elsewhere as well. That could be it in a matter of, what, 1.5 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like the hopes are too high at this point, I'm going to say, for the T side to recover. Furlan's already low. He's been swung on by two players, quickly dealt with, leaving now only Fiku. So yeah, there's not really too much hope at all. This is how it's going to go down. Why are we surprised, Travis, considering how as we said, the previous two ones have gone with those Force Spies, and I think they've usually been pretty convincing as well. They haven't been super scrappy Force Spy wins. It's like one team just comes alive and just completely takes over the round, and there we go. Not even one player dying in the end for Sinners. They keep all five standing. They recover some AKs and such. I don't think Beastick got that AK to his teammate, unfortunately.
No.
So that is a bit unfortunate, but I mean, they'll be happy enough to keep an SMG or so in there so that they can build up a bit of extra money. Yeah, you'd got the other one. You wanted a nicer skin, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to probably just drop it out in the open and knew that he had enough time to collect the second. And hopefully maybe get a third onto the team, but not to be. And now this puts Sinners in a very, very strong spot up against the Deagles. They're going to try and play aggressively as a team. Beastie got two Deagle headshots in the previous round, but there'll be none of that for Krasnal in this one. Liman can only answer back for one. Beastick was always going to get that trade. And that gives him a 4 versus 3. Shock has a Mac 10 on the CT side as well to possibly do some more farming, but maybe it won't even be required because Beastick is just going around the map looking for more headshots. He'll take Furlan out of the round as well. And this is the pattern that we've sort of seen, as we've said, in the first two maps as well, but also we've seen Sinners, at least in map 1, and I think actually in map 2 before Ago pulled it back, always get the 2-1, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was over Ago getting the 2-1. That's a disgusting shot from MHL. He needs more though. And gets a second. Okay, this is great damage to the CT side. They got an AK on M4 to stop this Deagle from doing more damage. He does have the bomb on his back, does MHL, so this is... I mean, if he gets one more, then who knows? But unfortunately, Sinners are at full strength when it comes to their health. He is going to be walking into Zedko on the A site. He does have the timing for Zedko, I believe. And he will just about seal it. Actually does hit one shot, does MHL. So a good round from him. He'll be pretty happy with how that's gone in the end, to be honest. Always getting the extra player down, so it's not the majority surviving on the CT side is always crucial. So decent job, but this is definitely a full eco for a go coming up.
Yeah, can't afford to really put anything in. Don't even think we're really seeing the pistols being invested into either. Mostly just Glocks being hung on to. I mean, 1 or 2 kills, just use your numbers, overwhelm a player somewhere. Ideally, avoid giving all of the kills to the MP9s as well. That would be nice, especially Oscar. You don't want his economy getting too stacked in the early moments. I'm wondering whether we'll see the double op setup at all here on this map, because obviously that had worked out incredibly well earlier on for Sinners when they were rocking it. Didn't really get to see it come out as much on Nuke because it's not quite as viable. Lamando, okay, he's crept his way around onto A, stolen an M4, he's joined by the rest of the team now. The problem being, of course, that bomb is over. I don't think under the control of Neo Frag at the moment, so they've got to try and work their way back across the map if they actually want any hope of winning out the round. And again, they're just doing a good job of getting a couple of kills here. I'm honestly feeling like they'll be pretty happy with this. If they can even get one more, then at that point the round is kind of even a little mini win for them.
Yeah, honestly, this is pretty good. This is to get 2 kills with what basically Glocks is probably the best you could hope for. Of course, sure, they had a couple of PT50s, I believe, but you know, they only really are hugely scary when there are players on the CT side, for instance, maybe with the lack of helmets. So there was nothing to work with there. So getting 1 and then a second with the Glock trade coming in from MHL was very good. And now we get to see how their buy rounds stack up. So they're sort of stabilised in inverted commas at least. Not necessarily got the even economy as of yet. We've got Zedko and Oscar on at quite literally 0. Oscar's advanced closer toward middle as well in the common position that often gets naded and flashed off. He's actually got a teammate stacked on top of him, and this molly could be very interesting. He's going to try and swing away from it to survive, but in the end, Oscar gets burnt down from it with the help of some damage as well, I'm sure, with a couple of bullets through the smoke. And with Philon taking Neofrag as well, that gives him a 5 versus 3. And all that Sinners can really do is double aggress into middle once again, looking for more. A good dink to MHL, but unfortunately, Shock couldn't finish off the kill. And that is basically all she wrote for Sinners in this one, unless they, for some reason, all walk into Zedko and B-Stick.
I mean, it does kind of look like they might have a bit of a clash to be fair, although, yeah, the Shadow, they're giving it away completely, unfortunately, for Zedko. It was known they'll still maybe move up in towards B here, but with only B-Stick anyway, I don't think it'll be too much trouble. The trade should be available. It's actually the low health player who goes in first as well, but B-Stick is good for the second. That'll finally, I think, warn them away. Like, okay, yeah, man, this guy can be a little bit scary. He can hit some of those good shots. We know he's low health, but even then, we just don't really need to fight him. Let's get the bomb down. Let's ensure we can keep all 3 standing even. And I think B-Stick will be more than happy to just go ahead and save that AK over for himself now.
Yeah. I mean, MHL did a little bit of a double take, didn't he, when he checked that corner? And if B-Stick didn't react to it and just let him run past, maybe they go to B, and B-Stick just denies the time or denies the bomb plant for forever, and then somehow gets himself maybe 3 and puts it into an interesting situation. But that is, again, you know, basically an impossible one to figure out. And yeah, it will be B-Stick just to try and save the AK. It's up to 9 kills in this game, actually, to be fair. Only 19 HP. But he should be able to save in the T-spawn. And yeah, as you say, Go are in a good spot now. That's a really important first buy round victory for them. Bomb will explode as we thankfully leave the gurgling water of the T-spawn there. I think the water bug has been fixed, if I'm not mistaken, for at least the players in-game. And that was something that Valve sorted out lately. But finally, that water bug that could be heard on maps like Overpass and Ancient has been avoided. So yeah, all good for that in the end. And then I get to see whether a Go can overcome what is Sinner's last buy now before an eco would have to be a must.
Yeah, they'll be looking to try and ensure that they win out this one, and well, the trades at least early on actually go the way of Sinners. Good return there from Neofrag. They went the double play in through lamps. A bit of a gap though as Oscar tries to play around the smoke nest, in Sniper's nest. Just mix the 2 things together there, like screw it, it'll save some time. Yeah. We do that. We leave out syllables here in Ireland as well. I decided I'll just leave out a whole word this time. Nice shot by MHL. Did he punish another player trying to peek through in towards B right there? Bit ambitious for the CTs. They did have the 3-on-3. I guess you're already kind of feeling the pressure at that point, wondering what's going on, but Now AGO with the 3-on-2 are just going to group back over towards B, having thrown out some nades towards A as a bit of a distraction, and it's worked incredibly well, pulling those players away from the B bomb site.
And it'll be an interesting one to see if they can actually attempt to recover it. Because, as we said, B is clear. Bomb will go down in good time as Furlan makes his way onto the site, planting behind the pillar. Oh, so often you see CTs coming from that position and just catching that bomb planter. But there's no one here to contend it this time. Shock and Nearfrag are around and about, but because of the fact that Nearfrag has just found the AWP to recover, I would imagine they probably wouldn't be too interested in this one. We'll probably be looking to try and save it. Nearfrag will escape back toward the A site, so they will be able to hopefully save 2 guns into the next round, and that'll be all they have, so it's pretty critical. They have something to work with, at least a duo as well. I think Shock might have just spotted Fiku. That's going to be pretty close, but he does get the timing. And he takes 1 bullet of damage in response, but takes another bit of damage as well through the wall from MHL. I believe that was 1 damage, if I'm not mistaken, from 68 to 67. And yeah, he will go on to the next round. 5 players stay alive, and it will be 3-3 now. Again, these teams inseparable.
That's what we want to see. Keeping it close neck and neck for now, although it should open up a little bit in favor of AGO within this round anyway, because there's not too much there. But I mean, there's an op and an AK. They're in the hands of 2 very, very scary players as well, even if they haven't been quite as intimidating in this map itself so far. We know what Shock's capable of after his showing on map number 1, and still looking pretty decent there on map 2 as well. And obviously Oscar woke up big time on Nuke in comparison to his performance back on Mirage, where he was kind of just chilling back. He was lounging while the rest of his team got the work done. I like this boost though. See whether it works out. Fortunately not. Krasnal backs off just as the smoke begins to fade away, and you can see already the A-bomb site's been completely taken over. Just the smokes around mid, the little bit of pressure that's been put on by Furlan, it was successful in completely opening up the bomb site. They stacked instead over towards mid and B. And, well, I don't think there's going to be much trouble here. Kind of surprised Shock moved in with the AK. I thought they might have just went for the save alongside the op.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's I'm going to be unfortunate because now Oscar, look where he is. He's just stuck in between 3 different angles, and Furlan's just going to swing on him. So that's the AWP gone, and they won't be an AWP available for the next round either. No, they won't. So 4,750 is not on any of the Sinners players. So their buy in this upcoming round is AWP-less and 2 for masses to go with the 3 M4s. Go looking pretty decent on the T side now, and it's been interesting, hasn't it? When a new map comes out into the pool, often it does start CT sided, just in general, as CTs are a bit more easier to hold crossfires than learn T side strats in the early stages of a map. But now we're seeing T sides really working out nicely for many teams. We saw it in the major, and we're seeing it here as well. I mean, a good amount of rounds on that T side, but if you go alone, makes T-sides a little bit harder. The man will get punished by Zedko for going alone toward A. Shock is Molotov'd off, though, toward middle. Actually, that Molotov is going to burn him straight into the open. Does great work to deal with Fiku. Unbelievable, considering he had to... Unbelievable that he's managed to get 1, as you say. Unaffected by the candles, thank goodness. Zedko gets 1 toward Furlan as well. Krasnal to deal with big sticks, so it keeps the round alive at least. And MHL could catch the timing towards Zedko if he swings past the angle at the right time. I think he might just catch it. Depends if he's quick enough on the trigger, though. Zedko refuses to peek that, and I don't blame him. 3 versus 2, 45 seconds to go. And with the bomb being able to be recovered by Krasnal in the middle, I don't think you can get down there silently, so they'll have to make noise. What can they do about it? Shock is low. It's possible still.
Yeah, well, Krasnal's already got himself the first. Onto 5 health, so it'll have to be MHL who does a lot of the work, so I think they're actually looking to trade out weaponry as well. Has that worked for them? Krasnal's just chilling on a P250 now. Okay. We had a nice little zoom in just to confirm it as well. They've been flanked out into Donut. He should get the weapon, and yeah, just about picking it up in time, but now he's going to deal with Zedko. His teammate backs into the angle, and somehow manages to make it work. Zedko goes down. It's all on Neofrag. First kill at least being retrieved. Now it's the low health player, and he swings straight in. The bomb... it was yet to be tapped, but he wanted to take a bit more initiative considering he was on the up. Was hoping to just post up and get that done with, because if you're being forced into playing the peaks once he taps the bomb and such, and you're on 3 health, that's going to be incredibly difficult. So you can understand it, but Neofrag comes out on top, and it keeps us going back and forth. This is what we want, as we were saying. An incredibly unpredictable game so far, but there's still plenty of money for AGO.
Yeah, you're right about that peak. Obviously, when you're on 5 HP and you have the AWP, you want to be posted so you at least have a chance rather than having to push after the bomb's been tapped, as you say. I wonder if the information was possibly relayed there to Neofrag to say, okay, this last guy's low. Even if he has an AWP, just play aggressively on this because we're probably going to catch him off. And that is also some aggression here too. Shock will take a double headshot on the FAMAS towards Furlan and get himself an entry. And Neofrag has gotten 2 toward Cave as well. Wow. This is a great recovery from Sinners in this one. Very clean opening picks. Neofrag 10 and 3. Great start for him alongside B-Stick, both on double digits now. Alongside MHL on the Ago side. 3 leaders in the server at the moment. And more dinks coming through toward Fiku as well. It actually does manage to wallbang down Neofrag, which is a cheeky one. It was half HP anyway after getting the 2 frags that he would be content with. So it should be okay. 4 versus 2. Bombs dropped in the open, as it were. I mean, at least Sinners know where it is. I don't think it's really recoverable because B-Stick's here. Flash in to try and get him further up, but B-Stick just about gets away with that spray somehow. 18 HP. And Shock will swing with the flash from Zedco to deal with MHL. So 5-4. Could that be a little bit of a break now to get these teams apart again? Dean, we mentioned how close they were and how they wouldn't be separated, but look at the money on a go. What would you buy in this situation with 1 player, 2 players able to buy, and 1 not, or 2 or 3 not?
But yeah, you get 2,400 in the next round, so you can afford to spend a little bit. I mean, you can technically buy on 3 players, but you can't get any nades on Laman or Fiku either, so I don't really count that, honestly. I think the half buy would have been the kind of go-to, but it looks like they're willing to buy. I can understand that too with the pressure that's being kept on Sinners, but it's risky. It's a risky one coming into the 3rd map. I think I'm a bit more of a conservative player when it comes to making the calls on economy and such, because as you can see, it is still pretty decent. They actually even dropped the op over. Furlan gives it to MHL and just takes a Galil in return. He's happy enough to be left on the weaker weapon. We've seen Fiku be pretty decent on that Deagle as well, so he's happy to get that, and the only full set of utility that they have as well. So that's where they've really taken the hit in terms of the buy in order to just get some weaponry.
Yeah, it's literally only util that's the downfall, isn't it? I mean, it's curious that this is actually a very similar sort of play to what the Los Gliotos roster I mentioned earlier would do with Krasnal when he used to play for those guys, the young 18-year-old. Always aggressive and always going for those fast buys, when, especially in situations where you would say, okay, you always eco here, and sometimes it would work for them. And I tell you, it has sort of worked in some extent to get themselves a 3 versus 3 at least. MHL with 2 nice picks on the AWP. The second one was particularly nice as well, for 12 kills for him. And they're going to be creeping in toward the cave position, and that's a lovely 3rd as well. Shock caught out, just going for a swing of his own, and that means that now MHL is on for the ace. They can put that 1 solitary smoke up. They have a second actually on Furlan, and they might have a chance to get this on site clear. And with that flag from Limban, that's basically done it. Oscar down, as Zedco's kept round the edge of that smoke down. That is a great pick. It gives him a chance now in this 1 versus 2. Here's a defuse kit he has on his pocket, so he'll be able to take a little bit more time over this, and or perhaps to give an attempt to wallbang down MHL, or at least give it a fight against it, AWP versus AWP. But MHL is playing a very, very defensive angle, and he will take his 4th of the round. Big, big round from MHL, and it is 5-5 once again.
Yeah, we can't have either team really creating any sort of distance between the other, it doesn't seem. They're going to keep it neck and neck all the way throughout. But, I mean, even in the rounds themselves, it tends to be pretty back and forth. I'm just enjoying the game that we're getting right now between these two. We have the individuals coming together as well. You have MHL right now on the up looking really good for AGO. You have over on the CT side Neofrag and B-Stick looking really good. But, again, Oscar's having a very tough time, I've got to say. It's similar to what we seen back on Mirage, where he was stuck on that 1 kill for a pretty decent chunk of the first half. We're actually seeing a nice little creep into B here. This is a switch up from AGO, something different to what we've seen before. They're against the weaker buy as well, so we're expecting an easy time here anyway. They should be claiming the lead. But it'll be, again, Sinners ready in this next round to get the buy going and to try and fight right back in. Although I do believe Shock will probably be a little bit low on money since they didn't have the loss bonus going. Oh, there's 1 kill. That'll help them slightly.
Something. Yeah, I mean it's 300 extra, isn't it? That could be. If you look at the money now, I mean they can have the AWP, they can have all the rifles. Just Shock probably have to go for FAMAS, and that one kill will give them probably an extra grenade to work with. So it's not too bad. Curious to see what exactly he chooses. Maybe MP9 full util, but no, he does go for the FAMAS. And yeah, I mean this is a great performance from Mago just in general, because I mentioned that Sinners have had some great results in general as of late, not just on this map. But if you look at this map alone, even as little as a month and a half ago, they beat Furia, for example, 16-5 on this map. So they are really a team to be reckoned with on this. And yeah, it's Gago really putting in a great performance at the moment to keep this one close and now take the lead overall in the series. What I'm not mistaken is the first time in a long time. And now, with a 6-5 lead, they've just walked into the A-bomb site. Sinners have taken a bit of a gamble to put one in Donut, looking for a duel toward middle, and Furlan's taken him out of the round anyway. So little does he know, the A site's completely taken as it is, and Krezel's just going to delete Shock in the back. Well, can you believe it? Sinners not having anyone on A, not having Oscar's AWP in that position toward the cave angle, which is so good for multi-frags, has caught them out. And finally, the gap is going to be had. 7-5.
Yeah, the first time we've seen a 2 round gap being created in a while. Since I think we had the initial 3-1, I think, from Sinners. We did get there, did we?
I think so.
I do like having my round tracker. Unfortunately, we don't get it on these servers. I just have a terrible memory. Very quickly, because we're so focused on current rounds and current going-ons that I remember things, but some of the specifics get foggy.
I can confirm that for you.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, you can check it on HLTV, of course, though. It's a handy little feature over there. But, yeah, I mean, at least a few weapons are going to be saved over for Sinners, obviously, but they're really starting to lose control here on the CT side. And it's going to be worrying, having already given 7 on the T side over to AGO now.
It is worrying. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, just about this map in general, it's going to be... Recently, it's been way more even than before. I believe in the major, the statistics show that somehow, surprisingly, Ancient is one of the most even maps, which is not something that you would technically expect after how CT-sided Ancient was, obviously, in its earlier stages. And it's fascinating to see how the meta will progress on this map and how T-sides maybe become easier over time. I still believe, if I'm not mistaken, by remembering a stat that I saw a couple of days ago, I think all maps at the moment are more CT-sided now in general. I think all of them have a slight CT bias, whereas before I think Vertigo had a slight T bias, but that could possibly be put down to the buff of the silenced M4, of course. Now that now kills in 4 body shots, not 5, like the M4A4 does. And yeah, we have a bit of a technical timeout. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really tasty, isn't it?
It adds up, like,
timeout, by the
you
way.
think one bullet, not going to be the biggest of differences, but when you've got 3 players running at you and you've got to spray them down, it helps so much. I think it's increased body damage, like spray through body damage as well, so if you're hitting the guy in the background, you're doing way more than you used to. So it's very, very useful. I do want to note quickly on a bit of a statistic here. AGO are very slightly T-sided on this map. They win about 54% of their rounds, while Sinners are pretty much 50-50. So you can kind of expect, you'd be hoping for them rather to have a solid showing on both sides. So they'll definitely want to grind out just 2 more rounds ideally here. And 1 you could maybe get away with as well, but a little bit more I think would be ideal.
Yeah, for sure. You have a nice fly around the map. Have some fun with the cameras, of course, while we wait for this little bit of a pause to come through. Shouldn't be too long before we get back underway again. You see the grenades dropped in spawn there. They'll be picked up and recovered. We see 3 players on the Go roster. Currently without a HE grenade. So once these flashes are thrown, they can pick up that HE, of course. And that's that utility drop update that came in alongside that M4A1S buff. And it's been curious to see how that's been progressing as well, Dean, because we've seen it on mostly, I think, Dust 2 and Inferno are the 2 main maps where we see it, because obviously nades can be dropped in CT spawn on Inferno and can be used to retake the B site. And on Dust 2, we saw Alexi B have that ridiculous game on Dust 2 where he, I think he got dropped every single grenade possible and just placed every single one for at least 20 damage per round, at least. And that got him, like, I think 2,000 damage in that one map with grenades alone. Pretty insane. And that was one for a demo review, I'm sure. No Mercy.
Games.
Do you think there are any gnomes on Ancient hiding away in the jungle, perhaps?
No mercy. That's a pun I'd make. That's how terrible that is.
Okay. Okay.
I know it was on the stickers. I was looking at it. I'm just saying. Can't believe Valve put that in the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are some pretty fun stickers in the game. To be fair, it's a nice thing to have in CS, just having people designing their own stuff and Valve saying, "Yeah, I like this. Let's put it in the game and let's give you your just reward for the work you put in." I think it's fantastic. Of
Hmm.
course, the signature stickers will be coming out for the major very soon, as we now discovered the top 8 signature stickers, which are, of course, a bit of a hot topic I think most of the community understand that probably it should be for the top 16 at least. But yeah, it's at least to get it for the top 8. It's something, but yeah, I mean, people have always said, okay, why are we not got it for the top 16? Why are we not got it for the major overall? So I made the top 8 a lot more. How can we put it? It was important anyway, but it was extra important for those players that did make it, and we'll get especially the ones who get signature stickers for the first time.
Hmm. Exclusive, a bit more exclusive now than it used to be, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like one of the draws of the stickers was always the fact that it was money there for the smaller teams who did make it to the major. You get me?
I agree. I mean, at least they got the team stickers right. I mean, teams like Sharks, Copenhagen Flames, they did so well in the event to get just what was it, a couple of rounds away from actually making the top 8. And of course, one thing I've got to mention is that Copenhagen Flames are in ESEA Premier this season. They're in the other group, not this group, the Group B. So we'll probably be
Stacked
seeing these
group.
guys. Yeah, we'll probably be seeing those guys in this league. Maybe on the stream, maybe on the B stream, maybe on a on a personal stream around and about as well. Who knows?
We'll definitely get them here at one point, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
As we were saying, the Group B is just so stacked that there's going to be so many matchups where we're like, oh, Copenhagen Flames versus X. Yeah, we need to cover that.
Yeah,
So
they're the
I
new
think we'll
hotshots,
definitely
aren't
get them a
they?
few
So
times.
yeah, exactly. They are the new upstarts and hotshots of Counter Strike, and they deserve
Oh,
it.
get a sticker.
Killjoy, yeah, very nice, very
ESL
pretty.
sticker, though.
I have a Killjoy Hollow on my deal actually on my deal print stream, which is a lovely match, and that classic ESL sticker that works perfectly with that M4 Cyrex there. That's if I'm not mistaken, that's a 2014 sticker, I think, that ESL sticker.
Oh,
So that's a
probably
throwback.
expensive. That could
Probably is, yeah.
probably mortgage a house right there.
I think it's a clone 2014, if I'm not mistaken. That was what a time to be alive that was. Unfortunately, all we can talk about right now is stickers and skins, as we do have this technical timeout. But it will be over in a matter of a few seconds, so don't panic. We'll be getting underway again.
Getting the booty shots.
Yeah, exactly. Nice shots of the map. Thank you to our producers for making this one interesting. That's for sure. And I
That
believe
Aiden
we're
back
going to be
there's
going
gonna
in
do
for a
some
buy, aren't
squats.
we, on Sinners, which is going to be a curious one. They have 3 guns, so you can understand why.
Yeah, it's awkward. You could honestly get away with just getting the pistols onto Zedco and Shock right here, and you have a reasonable chance in this round. It's not quite a full buy, but you've still got some good weaponry and a few nades behind it, and then you get your full buy either way in the next round. I think that's the way I'd probably approach it. And yeah, that seems to be the one that they're actually going for, because as I said, you've still got a really good shot here. Take a couple more
Yeah.
risks than you're willing to take in the next round, where you probably have a little bit more of a regimented plan after having that pause to chat and work out what way you'll want to approach the next full gun round. And yeah, you see Oscar at least there and Donut trying to see if they can pick up something on towards middle. Nothing too crazy being done. I do have to say that. For AGO though, they've got a bit of a default, but they've split heavily on the default. They've got just 2 players making noise around B, the other 3 then ready to push out on towards A, where it's unfortunately going to be the USP of Zedco as the initial point of contact, and he'll call in for Oscar then. But it's going to be pretty difficult if they just smoke him off, although they don't have a smoke, so they've got to fight it, and Fiku winning out the challenge. Oscar misses the upshot. He's been having a very rough game.
Yeah, that was just honestly, I don't know what that was from Oscar, to be honest. I mean, it just seemed like he wasn't prepared, almost like his arm wasn't on his table in a clean manner to press mouse 1, because there's a bit of a wiggle when he pressed it. So it's a difficult analogy to make, but you can get what I mean. And yeah, he's, as you say, he's having a bit of a rough series, not just a rough map. 2 and 10. He should have a little bit more on Nuke, but he's been very quiet so far today, which is unusual for him. We hold him to such high standards, of course. In the end, the wallbang does come through from Furlan to finish off B-Stick, so they're going to have nothing saved over. Thankfully, they do have the money for a buy, of course. But there you go, we're creeping away now. That's an 8-5 lead. First big gap they've really had in this game so far. And that's going to be fantastic for them if they get this victory. Of course, Sinners have already had 1 win in Premier so far this season. That was against Gamer Legion yesterday, I believe. So it's going to be an evener or an equalizer. Even there isn't a word really, I don't think. Well done, Travis. And we'll move on.
We can invent words, they're all made up.
Yeah, I guess they are. Someone had to invent them, didn't they? Maybe I just invented one. But it'll be an equaliser for them to be back to 1-1 if Go manage to win this one out. They still need 8 more rounds. They're only halfway there. So it's going to be a lovely play, actually, from B-Stick, going straight through that smoke. Thankfully, for Go, Lemon does manage to trade it just before that smoke is deployed. So he covers it into a 4 versus 4. And with a couple of rounds left on the half, I think Sinners would really love an 8-7. And even half is critical, really, here.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think the 7 is what they want, considering they're pretty equal on their split of where they take their rounds, and on the other hand, AGO are slightly T-sided, so that would actually set them up pretty well. I like this double push, and it might actually work out perfectly on the timing. Oh, he just about turns back, but Fiku still goes down. It at least gives a slightly earlier warning, so they don't both get caught off guard, rather. And the damage being done on Shock will eventually force them away, but they've seen the bomb, they've seen the brunt of the forces here as well, of that T side, so they have a very good idea that it is going to be this B commitment coming in. And with that, having Shock alongside Oscar here, as we said, Oscar's having a rough performance. This could be the moment for him to step up, but he jumps forward, leaving himself completely exposed to the cave opening, and then that just leaves too much pressure on Shock, as he's already tagged up. He has players coming in from both angles. And it looks like MHL, I was going to say, might have the finish here, but no, good shot by Zedko, and he might have a decent opportunity here, honestly, with Leman being low.
Yeah, only the 4 HP on the man, and that Molotov is just at the right time. It looked like he was ready to push straight through that and go for a duel. But as it is, he has to take more time over it, and you can understand he has plenty of time to play with. He has a smoke, and he has that kit as well, so he can take his time. It should be an easy swing toward the man, and there we go. But good damage has been done. Smoke onto the bomb. Fallon will swing and take his head off. A Go keep the streak running. Great stuff from them. An important hold in a very losable clutch. And that puts them up 9-5. And the buy is not going to look too good as well in the next round for Sinners. I like that double push. I really agree with that play. It was a good heads-up play in the right situation to get some information. Unfortunately, they just couldn't get that second kill, and it would probably made that round a lot more relaxing for them. And that is a lovely pick from MHL. He's had all the right angles and had Oscar's number for the entire half, up to 17-7 for him. And just a FAMAS and 2 FAMASs and 2 M4s, sorry, to recover the situation. And one of them's already been taken out of their hands.
Yeah, MHL had been the one who was a bit quieter on Nuke while Oscar had his moment to shine, but it's completely flipped on its head, and MHL has stood out far beyond what we've seen from Oscar on Nuke. He's been incredible so far here on Ancient, and well, as you mentioned, with the early opening with another quick kill being picked up by Leman as well, they've now got themselves a 5-on-3 with full control of A, as Fiku's just walked up forward into Temple, and I think he's about to cut off the rotation. Yeah, Zedko has no idea. They'll start running this bomb back across, likely, although I don't even think they need to. He's already pulled rotations, so they realize they can just move into B, and have we had an issue? Has my internet dropped?
No, I think... That's the last thing we saw. I think we're just going to be unpaused now, and there we go. We had 1 kill back towards Shock, so yeah, we're back in now. We can see exactly what's going on, but unfortunately, it still doesn't make for pretty viewing for Sinners. Shock and Neofrag in this 2 versus 4. A little boost can come in over the top of the smoke, perhaps, but I don't think it's going to happen. And, okay, he's stuck in midair there. That was very weird there for Shock. I'm trying to get something to happen. It's a run boost through the smoke, perhaps, is their last option, and they can't even do that correctly. That's not going to look good for Sinners, and it's going to be a very, very good half for a Go. Beautiful stuff from them. That puts them up 10-5. Sinners need a pretty impressive comeback. We're going to go to a break. See you in a few minutes. And welcome back to what is the last half for us today in the Esea Premier. Go versus Sinners. It's been a fantastic T-side of Ancient from Go. They've put in a great comeback so far today. Can Sinners respond? It's been a rough game for a few of the players on that roster, especially Oscar. But be interesting to see if he can step up in this second half. Here we go toward the B side for the Sinners players. Fiku will already take the head off a B-stick. We're going to jump in now with the Glock to try and take some more control of the position. Bomb will be planted, so that's something. But Fiku's taking one more, and he's doing more work as well, looking for even more headshots. Shock finally puts an end to it. And they look to try and do more now. There's two players actually on that right-hand side of the site. MHL hits a lovely shot, and so does the man. Now it's all down to Oscar. Gets actually two in response, which is a nice attempt, but in the end, Furlan takes him down. And it will be 11-5 for a go. Very, very good indeed.
Yeah, I've got to say, I love the no gun models. It's like we're playing one of those old Ghost Recon games. Don't know if you've ever played one of the ones where you don't actually see the gun models. But yeah, that's a common GoTV bug, unfortunately, right now. It happens. A quick reconnect at some point will fix it, but we'll probably just wait until there's an actual opportunity. We've actually got a match pause, so this will probably be the perfect one.
Yeah,
I do believe we've just had it confirmed from production that we can get that reconnect now since we've got a little bit of a pause. So that's fortunate timing. We didn't force that pause, by the way, so don't be saying, oh my god, casters, start the game. The players themselves paused and we just...
Pause game, fix gun models.
Yeah, and then they'll probably complain to start it very quickly. Nah, I'm only messing. Twitch chat is usually fairly nice, especially when you don't have... too many viewers. When it gets hectic at a certain point. Once you hit like 15,000, it's just you don't look at it at that point.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Got to give it a time of day when it lets some people know exactly what's going on. But yeah, it was obvious we had no gun models in that one. But it's just an easy, quick retry on that one to fix it, and we're back straight in to the action.
Good timing.
And that's perfect timing. We love to see that. Thanks to the players for pausing at the right time. Again, that wasn't us, that was them. So we can only say thank you to them. The bomb plant, of course, came through for Sinners, so they're going to have 3 AK-47s into this next round, and they're going to go for some contact play toward A here. And Eagle perhaps in first. There are 3 players in middle right now for a go. They've completely given up the A site, apart from MHL's scout watching from CT spawn. So he'll get 1 tag and then fall away. They don't have a smoke for this though yet, and because of that, the scout's going to do so much damage. It gets 2 kills. Furlan sprays down B-stick through the smoke as well. Bomb hasn't been planted correctly, and even Fiku will take Zedco as well. It's all neo-frag. He can get that response toward MHL, but there's really nothing else he can do about this. Maybe a couple more would be nice to damage the economy. But there's a boost up in Donut. There's no way you get past this 3-man hold with the bomb in the open. He's going to be rounding the corner and no chance. See you next round. 12-5. A go speeding toward the finish line.
Yeah, I think they want to try and make this map 3 a little bit of a quicker one. Obviously, we had the map 1 point back on the Nuke Radar, looking like they might have even had a quicker finish as well, but Sinners got back into it a little bit. So I'm not going to count out that we can see Sinners getting themselves going once again. But I don't think it's going to be an easy task by any means. The problem is here as well, they've only got the 1 rifle on Neofrag, the Hero AK, to see what can be done, and it seems like AGO are happy enough to push up, realizing they're against those weaker weapons, and take some slightly more challenging duels. And so far, they're all working out. They get rid of the AK in a position where it's actually going to be incredibly difficult to recover as well, as they've already pushed a player down the ramp with a deep smoke to make sure that won't happen. So this is not working out for Sinners currently.
Yeah, this is basically everything is just going for a go right now. I mean, Sinners don't really have... It feels like this round they didn't really have a plan. I mean, they took control of the outside of B, perhaps looking to rush in as a group. But that Hero AK does nothing. A man winning a very important duel there. And there are, in the end, 4 players on the Ago roster who all get at least some kills in this round. And that puts it 13-5. And now perhaps we will see the CT side Ancient Bias finally come through and get this game done and dusted, because Sinners, after a great start, of course, on Ago's map pick, they would have been feeling pretty confident. But the nuke in response from Ago, getting a great start on that CT side. I believe they got to something like 11-1 or 11-2 on that CT side of nuke. That got off to a great start. And now, 13-5 on Ancient. Only 3 rounds away from closing out this series. And look at this aggressive heads-up play from Krasnal. Goodness me. Beastic got 1, but all the aggressions come through, just like he did back in the old days when he used to play Advanced with his Polish 5-stack. It was incredible to see those plays working still. the young 18-year-old, doing some fantastic work for his team. He's had a really good series in general against Sinners. And in a 4v2, Zedko and Oscar just have to look for something toward middle.
Yeah, MHL might even have the time in here actually on this peak. Fiku, I was going to say, will likely take the attention of Oscar, but it's actually MHL who just straight up gets that kill for himself instead. Zedko's good at least for a trade, but that means obviously now being left alone in the 1-on-3, and well, he can't quite win out the challenge to recover the bomb on mid. It's 14-5 for AGO. They've taken full control of this game after what had been an incredibly back and forth initial 10 rounds. I've said that exact sentence back on Mirage. Although it was the other way around. It was Sinners, obviously, who were taking the control, so it wasn't quite exact, but it was very similar. It's kind of a mirrored situation right now, and it's been an interesting game in general. I was expecting it. Each map really starts in a way that it's incredibly promising. You're thinking, oh yeah, this is going to go down to the wire. And then someone just kind of falls off the face of the earth in terms of performance, and in this case it's been Sinners. But maybe these pistols will give us a bit of action.
And they have already. Neofrag got one, but that's a nice spray from Krasnal once again, and Fiku will help out toward Neofrag. It's only Oscar remaining, and Krasnal gets himself his third. I think that's 5 in 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Another great hold from him. And yeah, this is it's incredibly weird, Dean. I actually 100% agree with you. Both, I think all 3 maps started this way. Every single one had a pistol victory, then a force back in response, and that kept going for 2 or 3 rounds and ended up at like 4-4, 5-5, something like that, especially if you count this one. But then it just a team streaks away. And for the last 2, and for the most important 2, it's been a go, and they are now on match point. Krasnal will even peek wider once again. Look at the aggression on the CT side. Really good to see. Finally, Neofrag will respond with something. But MHL is there to trade that back, and look where Shock is. This could be something to work with finally on this T side, but it was already being checked for by Furlan, and he will go down. So at least that's something. They have a 3v3. There is a player in MHL toward Donut, and he will get the trade. The bomb is nowhere near, so that could force rotations away and give themselves a B site to play with.
Yeah, you can see, obviously, though, there's a player tucked in that back corner, and it's overlooked. Oscar goes down, a 1-for-1 at least found. But I think Laman will be happy with at least keeping the advantage just for now in favour of his teammates, setting them up for what should be a retake that they have an advantage in, but they're not going to be moving from the same position. So Zedko at least with a chance of potentially isolating the one-on-one here initially against Fiku, and then it would be a low-health MHL that he's going to deal with. But it's actually going to work out the other way around. He doesn't land the shot, neither do. The upshot's just missing. It can be afforded to be missed a little bit more by MHL, though, of course, with his teammates still moving in through the back lines, and he's fine with it. That's going to be the 2-on-1 retake successfully of AGO. And with the 16-5 in the end, I believe. That was incredible.
I was absolutely incredible from a go. I'm incredibly impressed. I mean, after that first map, I would honestly thought that they'd probably be feeling a little bit down about it, thinking, okay, we've lost our map pick. This is something that we probably expected us to take. But the response on Nuke was superb, especially on that clean CT side. I think they got an 11-1, if I'm not mistaken. And then as soon as it got to 5-all on Ancient, they just streaked away. Absolutely perfect. And the streak is beautiful. It was enough. And in the end, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it would be 11 rounds in a row to seal it. So very well played. They deserve it. That puts them on the board for Esea Premier. That was their first game. That is their first victory. And Sinners now have to be put down to a 1-1 scoreline. 1 win, 1 loss.
Yeah, obviously they did have a game yesterday against Gamer Legion that I believe was on the B stream, so I didn't get to see it myself, but it did happen. It wasn't a myth. 1-1. I mean, it's not the best. Obviously, it's very early on in the season. You can be kind of like, okay, man, maybe we can just brush that one off. But it's later on then in the season when you're maybe a win short that it can come back to bite you. So we'll have to see how that progresses as things do go on.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'll be curious to see if they can do even more work with this roster. I think I'll be excited to see what they can do, of course, with the young upstarts in the server. And actually, I do believe we have a possible interview coming up in a few minutes. I think with Krasnal himself, as the 18-year-old I mentioned, who's been doing some great work for for this roster, and I'd be interested to ask him a couple of questions actually about how he feels in this team. So I think we're going to get that in a few minutes' time, not too long. But yeah, in the end, I think Sinners Dean will be very disappointed with how those last two maps went after the start that they had. Sorry, on Mirage.
Yeah, it really wasn't what I expected. Obviously, they're the team that came back down from Pro League. They the first time around had an incredibly easy time also making their way through Premier. So you're thinking, okay, yeah, they've gained even more experience now. They'll be coming back in and probably just walking their way through the groups again. But it seems like the general level has gone up within Premier within that time as well, because they played within one of the earlier seasons where the best of threes had been brought in. So it kind of took a while for some of the bottom level teams, I think, to be filtered out and to bring up some of the better teams then from advanced as well. And I feel like now, as we've seen with both groups, there's no real weak links. We've just got incredible teams all around, and you can see already that Sinners are going to have a little bit of a tougher time making it happen now.
Yeah, and as you say, I mean, goodness me, Esea Premier this season has Entropic, major team, Copenhagen Flames, biggest probably prospect on the scene right now. Exciting roster, almost made top 8 at the major. You've got Movistar Riders who've done some great work recently. One win coming up from Advanced. You've got Team Finest coming up from Advanced looking really good. And yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this season plays out, because I think this is probably one of the most stacked Premier seasons in probably 3 or 4, to be honest.
Yeah, I think season 37 was pretty stacked to be for the one that Sinners were
Yeah,
in. The last
yeah.
season to me looked more stacked than when I looked at it initially, but it ended up kind of not working out in that sense because we had some teams underperforming, the likes of Sprout and such, who I thought were going to be more so towards the top of things there. We didn't really manage to get that one, but yeah, it was just again an absolutely fantastic performance coming in from the boys on AGO, and it doesn't seem like they're taking a long time to actually adapt to their roster changes as well, which is obviously an absolutely fantastic thing because I don't think they were really roster changes that they wanted to make.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be very curious to see how they progress. Both these teams, to be honest. But anyway, we do believe we have an interview now with Krasnal from the Ago roster. Hello, Krasnal. He's
Hello?
on. Hello, how are you? Are you
Wait, I
happy with
cannot
your
hear them.
victory?
I cannot hear them at all.
Oh, okay.
You can't hear us? Can you hear me?
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yeah, hello? Hello?
Hello, 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 hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello.
Congratulations on your win today. Very impressive stuff. I just want to say it's nice to see you in Premier, because I actually remember casting some of your matches in the Los Cogortos mix that you played in ECA Advanced, and you've really made a lot of progress now. And I'm a huge congratulations. How was this match for you, and where do you see yourself going?
This match means me a lot. Like, I improved as a player. Los Gutos was like only the mix. We were just playing with friends without any
Yeah.
prags. I joined FPL. I go pick me up, and I'm just, playing. It's going good.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. Huge congratulations. After Mirage, how did you guys get back into it? It was an interesting factor with you just not taking your map pick. How would you describe really taking Nukin and Ancient in the way you did?
I mean, for sure, we just cleared ourselves like in head. We went full focus on other maps, and coach just said, "Play our game, and we're gonna take this."
Perfect. Dean, over to you.
Yeah, I've got to ask, how has it been actually adapting to stepping into a team like AGO? As you were saying yourself, you've only been in those mixes before. Now you're coming straight into Premier here as well. I think you'll have Pro League at some point also, since they won out the previous season. Has it been a big change in the way you need to approach the game?
Like, I don't feel any pressure. I have full support from organization, from everyone, and everyone is behind me and wishing me the best. And I have confidence. I'm just going forward. And as a team, as a player, and we are just going great. And I love my team.
Yeah,
Oh, that's really nice.
you definitely should have confidence as well. I've got to say, after the performances that you gave us there on those maps, looking absolutely fantastic. And I want to also ask, I guess, something here, because having a look at the group, obviously you've got the other Polish teams in here. You've got Anonimo and Vizsla as well. Is victories against those two teams going to be something that'll be a little bit extra special, perhaps, if you can pick them up?
I mean, of course, like in the derbies, people are watching, people are cheering, and if we win versus Polish team, it's also like a bit extra fun for it. And like, like beating Polish team is like something more special than beating someone else. But like Sinners was always playing like really good games versus us, and Argo with previous lineup had problems with them, and we with this lineup beat them. And it's like confidence boost, I think, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really happy for you. I mean, as I said, seeing you come from that little, Polish mix that you got to the advanced playoffs, which is, I'm sure, very exciting for you guys. Yeah, to get to here, I think you're on the right trajectory for sure. I think you should be very, very happy and excited for the future. So it's great to see that, and thank you for talking to us.
Thanks as well.
Yeah, awesome getting to hear
That was nice.
from Krasnal there, of course, as you were saying, one of the newest additions, and I do believe that's just his first Premier game in general, and he's going to head and put an immediate notch on the board as a solid little victory for himself. So again, congratulations, Krasnal. I don't know if you can still hear us. You're probably gone by this point. You're looking to get off and celebrate after said win, but that's just the start that really AGO could have been asking for, to come straight in with their new roster and to instantly just seem to have things click. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, for sure. And they'll be, as I said, excited for the future. I mean, they've got this young 18-year-old in Krasnal who's doing some great work. And you can tell by his attitude in that interview, he's very calm. He's got support behind him. His teammates are behind him. And when you have that, that's the springboard, right? That's your starting point of progressing to either the next stage and getting wins in Premier and getting further up the ladder, not just in Polish CS, but also in World CS. So that's great to hear. But anyway, I think that's probably coming to the end of us today, Dean. It's been a fun one for sure. But yeah, it's going to be probably, I think, next week now before Premier gets back underway. If I'm not mistaken, there might be some matches midweek, but I don't think they'll be covered by ESL if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be fun. We'll be back for more for sure. I believe next week, Dean, me and you. So I guess it's down to me to say goodbye and last words from you.
Yeah, again, I'm just very impressed by that team in general, not only from Krasnal, but the other new addition of MHL, because he had pretty big shoes to fill in the form of Snatchy, of course, who had been doing a fantastic job, and especially in that third map there, he more than lived up to it. He was the one who really led the way. He shut Oscar out the entire time. I mean, we focused a bit on Oscar struggling, but there's a reason why. It was because MHL was winning out every single one of those duels that they had against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely correct. Anyway, yeah. Huge thanks again thanks to production and thanks to ESL for having us on. We'll probably see you next week. It's time for you, Dean, to go and get some food, I think, just about in the nick of time, perhaps.
Yeah.
And we'll I'll go and do exactly the same. And we'll see you guys probably, I think, me and you again, Dean, next week. So cheers and see you soon.